Hi, and welcome to my very first Where Have You Been All My Life for TV POV. If you watched the episode on Thursday, you know that the Where Have You Been All My Life segments are our chance to talk about shows that we're watching that are older shows that aired in the past. So stuff that we're just catching up on and just falling in love with years later. So I've been watching a lot of old shows over the summer, but the one I'm going to talk about today is The Shield, which is a fantastic gritty cop drama that aired on FX from 2002 to 2008 for 7 seasons. To give you a little bit more information on the premise of The Shield, it's about a fictional police precinct in an area of LA called Farmington, which is also a fictional area, in which there is the first Latino captain, Captain Aceveda, who's running the precinct, and he's dealing with a unconventional police team, a strike team headed by Detective Vic Mackey, played by Michael Chiklis. And there's sort of a struggle between them and between some of the other detectives and cops in the precinct that revolves around the central issue of how far do you go to keep the streets safe, to put criminals in jail? Where is the line? Are you working with some criminals for a larger goal, or do you have to be a complete sort of a hard line and not break any laws, not push any boundaries? So that's kind of the central theme of the series. It's all about the gray area when it comes to law enforcement, and a lot of the characters sort of occupy different levels of that gray area. Probably Vic Mackey is the farthest outside of the traditional law enforcement rules. Him and his strike team do a lot of things that are very, very questionable. And then you've got some more moral cops who kind of always toe the line and are always about doing things the right way. And you've got people that are in the middle that kind of sway back and forth. It's a really, really fantastic series because that central question is so fascinating, and it results in the fact that you don't really know who to root for in this series, which is fascinating because sometimes, for example, one of my favorite characters is Detective Claudette Wim, who is played by Cece H. Pounder, and she's fantastic. And she's one of the characters in the show who is kind of all about doing things the right way. Like, she's a really good cop, but she gets pissed off with all the bullshit. She doesn't like the lines being crossed. So you're really, really rooting for her. And at one point in the series, she is trying to take down Vic Mackey. But the thing is that you kind of want him to get away with it too, because despite his questionable methods, he gets shit done. It's the kind of series that is constantly pulling you in different directions, and from episode to episode, you never really know which character's side you're going to be on. It kind of depends on who you're rooting for that week, and that changes. And I think that's what a really good, well-developed show should be, because all of the characters are fully fleshed out, they all have valid points of view, and it's not about right or wrong, it's about constantly exploring that question. So I think it's great. I am only on season 3 so far, but I'm loving it, and I'm obviously going to continue watching. One of the things that I really love about this show is the interrogations, which may sound like a small thing, but I find it so captivating to watch the way that they script these, because they're really complex and they feel very realistic. It's so different from the kind of interrogations you see on a procedural show where someone always breaks down crying and confesses that they did it, and it just doesn't feel like that would ever happen. But in this series, it's a game. It's so well scripted, and they're really trying to trick people and sort of tease out their weaknesses. And they're struggling for every little bit of information that they get from these people. And when they do get it sometimes, you really feel like they've earned it, like they've really caught them and it would happen. So I love watching that. I'm always really excited when they have to interrogate somebody for information. And my favorite character on the show is Detective Holland Wagenbach, which is a ridiculous name, but that's sort of part of the joke. He's played by Jay Carnes, who I haven't seen really anywhere else, but I think he's great, so I'll probably try to look for him now. He is the quintessential overachiever cop who is obsessed with his job, who really takes it personally, and he's so good. Like, I love watching him solve cases. But the antithesis of that is that he's a complete disaster in terms of social interaction. He has no tact. He's always sort of saying the wrong thing. He's not sensitive at all. But he's a really interesting addition to the show because he's such a non-macho guy. He's kind of like this, you know, to the nose to the grindstone nerd who's really effective. So he's my MVP for the show. And like I said, I am only on season 3, but I am definitely going to keep watching, and I highly, highly recommend this show to anyone who's a fan of darker cable fare where there's very loose morality. I think you will really, really enjoy the show. So check it out and keep coming back to the website for more of these little segments if you enjoy them.